All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our last and final day for the UI UX Design Bootcamp training. Yes, it has been a really exciting journey, exciting for me, and I'm sure you guys have also enjoyed it as well. I remain your one and only UI UX designer, Olens Old Asinobi, here at Loctech Training Institute. So we've covered a lot of ground over the past 4 days, and we're going to sum all our work up today. That means finishing our Instagram design project. Now, before we head into Figma, one quick reminder, we didn't design the entire Instagram. We just talked to some basic screens, the sign up process, and the home screen. That's all. So today we are going to be creating an animated splash screen. So let's jump into Figma and get started. All right, so I know that we are seeing two more faces that were different from where we left off yesterday, which are these two. Don't worry, I'm going to explain what's going on here in a bit. But as we can see, let me just walk you guys through a recap of what we did yesterday. So yesterday we completed our home screen. I showed you guys how to create the story bar at the top and then the navigation bar at the bottom of the screen. Then we also learned how to create the login screen and the sign up screen as well. So, but in case for the only thing that I did in your absence was I added some few stories. Let me just quickly bring this guy out so that we'll see what I'm talking about. Good. So let me expand it. So as you can see, I added some more. Let me zoom out. I added some more Instagram posts. So you didn't miss much. We already know how to create one Instagram post. I think this was one that we did. So all I had to do was just duplicate it and then change the images. And then I added our friend suggestion card that we created in day two. So after doing all this, I selected all of them. If you followed yesterday's class, the same process that I used in making this story slider bar. I did the same process, but this time around, it's now in a vertical format rather than the horizontal format of the story bar. So meaning that after duplicating all of them and changing the pictures, like you can see, I didn't do much. I then selected them all and then added to frame. So if you've forgotten how to add to frame, all you have to do is to just right click after the selection and then say frame selection. Yes, not add to frame selection. So you select all of them and say frame selection. Then after doing that, I then set my content, my frame to clip content, just like what I did with my reels. And then I reduce the height. Let me zoom out. I think I reduce the height to something like this. Yeah, so that it's going to fit in properly into my original phone screen. So yeah, that was the only thing I did in our absence. Okay, so let me just put that back where it belongs. Then we can get down to the order of the day. All right. So moving on, before we start talking about prototyping, I just wanted to spice things up a little bit. I wanted to design the splash screen for Instagram, but I figured it was a little bit too bland, so I wanted to add a touch of animations to it. So it might look different from the way the actual splash screen of Instagram works. So I'm just trying to let you know so that you'll be aware. So yes, my splash screen, as you're seeing, is actually having two screens. Yes, we are seeing one that is blank, but trust me, this is not blank. And then we are having the second one with the Instagram logo and the Meta logo, like so. So before we start designing a splash screen, we need to first of all talk about what a splash screen is. Yeah, you might be wondering, what is splash screen? What is splash screen? So a splash screen is like the welcome page, like the environment or the entrance into a particular app. So the very first screen you see that actually contains sometimes brief information about the brand, maybe the logo or the name, before you start seeing the onboarding screens and the home screen. That is your splash screen. So in the case of Instagram, once you just click on the Instagram button to open the app, you see a screen that looks something like this. Yes, so that is your splash screen. So like I said, I decided to spice mine up a little bit. So, but first, let me show you guys how to create this splash screen over here before I tell you how to create the animations that I did. So I'm going to select my frame tool, and then I'll draw a new frame. iPhone 16 Pro, that's what I use here. So I'm going to do the same. iPhone 16 Pro. Okay. Okay, let me drag it down here. Then the next thing, this is actually the easiest part of the design. I imported the Instagram logo, which is this. Yes, as you can see, this Instagram logo is actually, it's just a picture. Yeah, I just downloaded it, so you can download it from the internet. You can download it from anywhere. It's popular. It's not hard to find. So let me just quickly import that. I'll stop talking now and get into action. So I'm sure we all remember how to import images. So I'll go over to my downloads and then I'll bring it in here. So, but for the sake of time, let me just copy from this one. Yes, Control C and Control V. Good. Then the next logo I'm going to bring in is the Meta logo. Yes, I'm going to work on this because you guys might be wondering, how did I get a Meta logo and still give it the exact same color that the original Instagram Meta logo has? So I'm going to show you guys how to edit your SVG even after importing them from Iconify. So I use Iconify to get this Meta logo, and that's what I'm going to do again. I'll right click, plugins, Iconify, just like so, and then I'll wait for Iconify to run. And yes, Iconify has come up already. Now, the Iconify environment, we all know how to work with Iconify. It's just like I said, just type in the name of what you're looking for. So I'm just going to type Meta, yes, Meta, and nothing else. And there you see that I have my Meta logo. So I'm going to look for the one that contains both the logo and the word mark, which is actually this one, so that when I'm changing the color, they all change as well at once. So I'll import it as frame, and there, as easy as that. So remember the topic of removing icons from their frames. How do we do that? You double click on the icon and then drag it out of the frame like so, and then you see that the frame is now on its own. So I'm going to scale this guy up a little bit so that I can see with what I'm working with. I'll reduce it back later on, of course. Now, see, the good thing about working with plugins when importing icons is that they come in as an SVG. So SVG meaning that SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics, and this means that you can change it and edit the colors in Figma as normal shapes. Yes, so that means I can change this from this boring black to the gradient of the Instagram logo that we all know, which is what I'm going to do now. I'll click on my fill and then move over to gradient. Now, at first, I wanted to give this guy 4 gradients, but I realized that the Meta logo in the Instagram splash screen has only 3. Yeah, just like this: the yellow, orange, and purple. Or is that red? So I'm going to do the same thing, just 3. Currently, I have 2. I'll add 1 more. Then I'll start adding the colors one by one, just like how we know. I'll select this first color, pick on my eyedropper tool to pick the first color, which is going to be the orange. Always remember to monitor this circle at the top right here, because this circle actually shows you the color that you're picking, so you know whether you're picking the right color or not. So I'm going to hover my mouse over the color, monitoring the circle. I think that is perfect. And then I'll click once, repeat the same process for the next color, which is the red. I think I'm going somewhere here, there, and then the last color appears to be pink or purple. Yeah, that's purple. So just do that and add this guy there. Then before I close this, I think as we can see, the gradient is not completely even, so I will drag this one all the way here. Oops. Okay, yes, and then I think I'll push this guy a little bit. All right, so there you have it. Our Meta logo is complete and is looking good. Now all I have to do is scale it down and put it in its place. Remember, the guide is guiding us, and now it's at the center. So I'm going to hold Shift and Alt to scale it down so that it doesn't lose its position. Okay, then next is just that text that says from. Select my title there and just type from. Good. I'll drop the text to 12. Okay, it's actually font 12, so that means I need to increase this logo a little bit. So that's what I'm just going to do. Nope, too much. And there we go. So like I said, this is actually the way the Instagram splash screen looks, but it seemed a little boring, so I decided to spice things up. So let me just quickly align all these guys to the center with the help of my alignment panel. um yes, just like this, and then I'll group it together, Control G, so that it is going to stay in place. Okay, I'll make sure that it's aligned to the center of my artboard, and there we have it. So to create animation, although I'm going to explain how the animations work in a bit, so just follow me. I'm just going to duplicate this screen right now and then make a little bit of changes. That is what I did here. So I'll duplicate this screen, holding Alt and dragging, yes. Then I will drop the opacity. So you see that the shape is actually there, just like this. The shape is actually there, but the opacity is dropped. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll drop the opacity, and to find the opacity, I'll go over to my appearance. You see where they say opacity is currently set to 100%. So I'll just take my cursor to the side of that 100%, click and drag it all the way down to 0 there, and it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so now my splash screens are complete. Now it is time to now move on to a very interesting topic. Let me just move these guys out of the way. Thank you very much. They serve their purpose. Now it is time to move into a very interesting topic called prototyping. Now, the topic of prototyping is very, very important as a designer, because it is this prototyping that aids you, helps you to create like a simulator of how your product, be it the mobile app or website, will function in real life. So yes, just like when you have a flight simulator that simulates actual flight for pilots, the prototyping helps you to make your design come to life. Yes, because you know that as a designer, you can't actually launch it, but you want to give it that realistic feel when using it. So that is why prototyping is there. So the topic of prototyping is actually broad. We have lots of topics, animations, and all of that, but we won't have the time to cover it completely. So I'm just going to work with what I have. So now we are going to see the reason. We are going to answer the questions that might be running through your mind right now. Why do we have two screens for our splash screen? What does this have to do with the prototyping? So I'm going to switch over now to my prototype panel, which is this. So the prototype works in a form of connections. You create link from frame to frame. So this is where frame comes in. You connect one frame to another, maybe through a button or thereabout. So I want to connect this frame to the other. Now, let me give you guys a brief explanation of the idea that I want to create here, right? So I want a situation whereby when you open the app, you first get a blank screen, and then the Instagram and Meta logo that you see here slowly fades in. Are we together? Slowly fades in and then comes visible. That's the animation I'm trying to create here. So that's why I have one blank screen and one with the Instagram logo. So I hope by now we understand why this screen is here. So I just remembered something real quick. We need to name these our frames. I'm just seeing that all of them are having the name iPhone 16 Pro, iPhone 16 Pro, although they are differentiated by the numbers, but it's actually kind of weird. So I'm just going to rename them. So to rename a frame is as easy as creating one. All you have to do, let me switch back to my design panel. All you have to do is to just double click on that iPhone 16 Pro that you see there, and then you can type in whatever you want. So I'm just going to name this splash screen 1. Then this one, splash screen 2. Then this one will be the, sorry, backspace. This one will be the sign of, login. then this sign in, and then finally the home screen. Okay, I think I've already named that before. All right, so now we can go ahead to prototype it. So the importance of giving names to your frames is so that you can be able to know the destination, so that you can know where you're connecting which screen from which screen. So you know that, okay, I'm connecting splash screen 1 to splash screen 2. So now that I've moved over to my prototyping panel, then I'm going to hover above this to create some what we call connection nodes. So you see that as this frame is selected, there are some circles at the edges, one at the center, at the top, at the left, at the right, and at the bottom. Yeah, so this is where you create your connection link. This is where the starting point comes from. So I'm just going to click and drag, and how Figma works is that the link goes over until it gets to the next frame. So you see that automatically, even if I'm dragging, it has locked itself to splash screen 2. But if I go beyond that frame, you see that the link has continued. Then it jumps to the next frame that is right next to it, which is the login. So I just want to connect this to the splash screen, and there you have a connection at the center. So when I release now, I have this small dialog box that indicates the interaction that we want to choose. So this is how it works. I know we've talked a little bit about this in a previous class when we were working on the like button, an animated like button. So now we are going to explain this in a more clearer sense. So the interaction panel is divided into three sections, or four sections. The very first section is the trigger. So the trigger now means, okay, what action will the user have to take for this screen to move to the next, or for the animation to start? So that is what the trigger means. So the default trigger is always set to on click. So that means if a user clicks on this frame, it will transition to the next frame. Okay, but we don't want it that way. We want a situation whereby the screen moves on its own without any external cause by the user. So how are we going to do that? We'll click on this small drop down to get a list of options. You see, we have on drag, while hovering, while pressing, and so on and so forth. So we're just going to skip all the way down to after delay. So after delay means that after a specific time, this screen will move on its own. Now you can go through the rest of the triggers at your own time. So I'm just going to click on after delay. So now after delay, I need to then set how long will this screen last on display before it moves to the next. So it's currently set to 800 milliseconds. I think I'll make it a bit longer than that. I'll set it to 1200 milliseconds. So it means that after 1200 milliseconds, this screen will move to the next on its own. You won't have to do anything. And that's the goal that we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve a scenario whereby once you open the app, you first see a blank screen, then slowly the Instagram icon then pops out. So that's what we want. So that delay is good. Then the next step is what? Action. So what do you want this splash screen to do after a delay of 1200 minutes? That's the next section. So the trigger is what begins the interaction. The next is the action. What does the screen or the component or whatever you've selected, what do they do after the trigger has been set? So currently I want it to navigate to, meaning that it will move from this to this. So you can see that if there's a drop down there are still other options that you can always play with and toggle around with at your own time. So navigate to seems fine by me. Then the destination. The destination means the screen that we are moving to, or the frame that we're moving to next. You see why naming the screen is very important. So now that my screen has a name, I can tell that, okay, it's going to the right destination. Then lastly, and most importantly, the animation. So this is where the fun happens, where you see all those animations come to life. It is from this particular point. So how do you want this animation represents how you want this action to take place? The first animation that we have here, instant, meaning that instantly this will just transition from this to this after 1200 milliseconds to just instantly move. Nothing special, nothing beautiful about that, which is boring. So I'm going to change it from instant, skip dissolve, and switch to smart animate. So how smart animate works is that it tries to animate matching layers. So things that it sees on this screen, it will try and animate it on its own in the next screen. So that's why Smart Animate is actually the best option for this action. Again, it has other animating options which we won't have the time to walk through for the sake of our time. So I'll advise you, employ you to go through this at your own leisure. Then the Smart Animate is the animation. I'll set my curve to ease in. I prefer ease in. Then the duration of the animation matters a lot. If it's too fast, if it's too quick, if the duration is small, you won't take time to appreciate what's actually going on. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer. I'll set it to 2000 milliseconds. Yes, hit enter. So just like that, my animation is set. I can't wait to preview it, and I'm sure you guys can't also wait. But instead of taking a sneak peek, let us keep ourselves in suspense until we complete our animations. All right, so now after my screen has transitioned into this, what next? I have to see my login screen next, right? And again, just like how the Instagram app works, you don't have to do anything. There's nothing to click here. So this screen should automatically move to the login screen. So first off, I'm going to create the connection. I'll click on the screen and then create the connection node. And then, like I said, it should on its own automatically move. So as you might have guessed, we are going to use yet again the after delay. So this time around, I'm going to make it quick. Let's say after a delay of 1000 milliseconds, still sounds good enough. 1000 ms. Good. Navigate to okay. Login. Good. Smart animate. All right, let's try Smart Animate and see what that will do. But this time around, I will drop the animation a little bit. Or no, I don't want to use Smart Animate. I just remembered there is no layer here to animate. So let me just make it instant. Yeah, we've had too much fun already. So let me just make it instant. Yes. So instantly after 1000 milliseconds of seeing this, you are going to have your login screen looking at you. All right, so from your login screen you have two options. You can either choose to log in or sign up, right? So the login button should take us directly to the home screen. So I'm going to click on the login button and then click and drag all the way to home screen. Yes, so the trigger, meaning that what does your user have to do for you to move to the home screen, right? So my trigger is on click is perfect, the best option. Action, navigate to. Animation, let's say instant. It should be instant because there's not much thing there to animate. All right, then the next one is the sign up. If someone doesn't have an account, they can also choose to sign up. Okay, so I'm going to click on the sign up button and take it to my sign up screen. On click, good. Navigate to good. Sign in, good. Instant. Let me say sliding. No, let me change the animation this time around. Spice it up a little bit. I'm going to make sliding. So you see that one good thing with Figma is that it has a small preview box for you to see the type of animation or see what you're actually going for. So you see the preview box around here. The sliding means that it's going to move in this way. 2000 milliseconds is too slow. So let me reduce it down to 500. Yes, this is good. So it's going to slide in from the right because of the direction indicates from the right. Then I'll do the same thing for my sign up screen. Sign in button, home screen, instant, nope, not sliding, instant. Yes, everything is good. Then this login button should also take us back to the login screen. In case you accidentally move from login screen to the sign in screen, you can just easily move back like that. So I'm changing the animation from instant to slide in. Okay, no, slide out. Let me change it to slide out. Slide out. All right. So now seeing that the sliding in was coming up from the right, it will only make sense for it to slide out from the left this time around. So let's try it in an opposite direction. Okay, good. I think that looks good enough for me. So we see that it's moving from the left to the right. Yes, that is good. So my animation is looking well. So now we then come down to the home screen. First of all, we can tell that the Instagram story bar that contains all the stories is slidable, meaning that users can slide it from start to finish. Yes, so that is where that frame that we created and shorten the height up to this point comes in. Yes, now we can see the use of it. Now that I've selected it, I'm going to, instead of creating a link, I'm going to come over to the design panel and say scroll behavior. So anytime you want to add a scrolling behavior, you want to add one special scroll to a particular section of your app or website, just move over to your, select it and move over to the scroll behavior. Remember to set it in a frame and then cut the length of the frame. Always make sure that the frame is not the same length as its content. It has clipped some off. So now that that is done, I'm going to then set the scroll behavior, position, scroll with parents, good. Then overflow. I will change the overflow from no scrolling to horizontal. So meaning that the overflow, meaning that there must be things, other elements that has overflown beyond the boundary of my frame. You see where that cutting of the frame comes in. Had it been I hadn't cut my frame, there would be no overflow. And if there's no overflow, there will be no scrolling. So just always remember to make sure that your frame has cut off some parts so that there's going to be an overflow of content. Yes, it's very, very important. So now that that is done, I can then set my overflow to horizontal. The same thing I'm going to apply to this vertical scroll bar. I'm going to click on it and then set it to the overflow to vertical this time around. So remember when I cut the height short, you know that it still has content all the way down. So as I cut it short, now that the overflow is set to scroll vertically, it means that as I'm scrolling upwards, my design will go as well. Okay, so now we have done all the connection, we've created all the nodes, we've done all the animation and all of that. It is time to see our work in action. So this is where our presentation comes in. There are two ways of presenting. There is the full screen presentation and the preview. For some reason, I like working with the preview. Why? Because the preview gives you the exact same size as your screen. It's not going to change it. But if I want to make presentation, it's going to cover the entire screen, which I don't really want. So I'm going to change it to set it to just preview. Yes. So to do that, all I have to do is come over to this play button that we see here, click on this drop down and say preview, not present. Okay, so now it is going to preview, but the problem now is that it is going to preview just the screen that I selected. Yes, that's why it is showing me the home screen, and I just ruined the surprise by scrolling, but I hope some of you didn't see that. So let me just quickly close this. I will zoom out and then I will start from the very beginning, the splash screen. Then I will set the preview. All right, so let's see our work in action. First of all, the splash screen is going to load. It should show a white background that then slowly fades into the Instagram home screen and Instagram icon and the Meta logo. Yes, so that's what we are expecting to see. Okay, and it should come out in about okay now. Wow, did you guys see what happened? Let me just take it back a little bit. Um, okay, you see how it slowly faded into this and then it quickly jumped. But I think that the time that it moved from the Instagram to the login screen is too short. So I'm going to shift this tab now and then I will change that our after delay. So I'll change it from 1000 to let's say 2000. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now let me take it from start. Let me close it and start again. Okay, so let's see all the things we've been doing so far. Let them come to action. Remember that like button that we created before, as well as the bookmark button. Yes, that animation that we created in day 3. This is where we see it come to life. If you guys missed it, just head over to our YouTube channel or Facebook channel and you'll see the video. Okay, okay. In case you missed that, let me take it from start again. All right, so blank screen, Instagram slowly fades in, and then it automatically opens the login screen, which is what we want. So I can choose to click on the login button or the sign up button. But before I click on the login button, let me just see that slide in, slide out action. So I'll click on the sign up. Wow. Let me click on the login. Nice. Yes. So you see our animation is coming to life. Sign up, slides in, login, slides back out. That is very good. So from the sign up screen, I can then log in. Instantly, we see our home screen. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to take a break for questions before we, because the home screen is like a hub of animations here. We added a lot of features here. So let me just take a 3-minute break to entertain some of your questions. Then when we come back, we are going to get the grand finale of our presentation by viewing the home screen. Okay, so your 3-minute break starts now. If you have any question, just drop it on the comment section and I'm going to see it. Okay, welcome back from that quick break. I saw your comments and I've seen most of your questions. So quickly, let me answer one question that says, can we combine both Adobe XD and Figma to design something? Well, they are both different tools, but they do the same thing though. They both work on mobile apps and websites, but in different manners. So if you want to work with Figma, you work with Figma. If you want to work with Adobe XD, you work with Adobe XD. There is no combining of the both of them. Okay, then the last question says, how do we save whatever we design or do? All right, so the Figma is a cloud-based document, so that means it works on the digital cloud. It saves automatically. So as long as you have an internet connection that is strong and stable, your work automatically syncs with the cloud and it is backed up. So no worries. Okay, so back to our prototyping. Yes, we were about to unleash or unravel our home screen. But before I continue, I realized that our presentation was just showing blank. It was just showing something blank. Let me show you guys what I mean. It's not showing in a frame. It's not actually showing in a phone. So I want it to show like in a real life setting, how it would look like on a phone. And in case you've been wondering if that is possible, it is entirely possible in Figma. All we have to do is to come to the prototype settings on my prototype panel. as you can see, prototype settings, then set your device. So currently it's set to no device. That is why the streaming is not showing anything at all. Like the presentation rather is not showing anything at all. It's just a blank rectangle. So I'm going to change it from no device to the device that we use, the frame that we use. So that's why it's very important to take note of the frame you use in your design. So we use an iPhone 16 Pro. Yes, iPhone 16 Pro. So now that that is done, I will select this splash screen and preview it one more time. Okay, so now you see that the presentation bar has changed from just one long rectangle to an actual phone frame. Yes, now it gives you that feel of actually working with a phone in real life. It's not compulsory, but it just gives that aesthetics. All right, so from the splash screen we move to the sign up screen. Yes, okay, good. And the animation is kind of slow, but I like it that way. Good. So now remember our sign in, sign up, sign in, sign up. Okay, so now I'm going to log in and instantly I get to my home screen. All right, so this is where we get to the edge of our seats. Now let us see all the things we've been doing so far. First off, our Instagram story should slide. Let's test that theory. So I'm going to click and drag, and wow, as we can see, it is sliding with me with little stress. Yes, that is why we had to go through those processes. I didn't just duplicate everything and carry it and drop here. No, I had to clip my frame, set my frame to clip content, and then I created an overflow by dragging in reducing the width of my frame. So I dragged it in and made sure that it cut off some parts so that my overflow can scroll. All right, so now we can see the result of our work, and it's really, really looking nice. It's really giving that Instagram feel. The next one that we want to test is our vertical scrolling. And like this, it is working. I decided to spice things up a little bit by adding the same scrolling option to our Instagram suggestion card, and let's see if it worked. And wow, it did. You see the same scroll bar is still there. So see our friend suggestion, look at how the scrolling is working smoothly the way it should function. Then one last thing, I think it's actually the main star of this event, the animated like button. So let's see that small process that we did, that addition of those plenty love signs. Let us see how it actually played out. Okay, so this is the button. I'm going to click on it, and as you can see the way it jumps once we click, that bounce effect, that is our animation coming to life right there. So yes, you see the beauty of animation. You click once, it bounces and turns red. You click and it changes back to white. The same thing for our save button. Click once, click twice, click once, click twice. Yes, so that is how the animation works in Figma. As you can see, it is looking so realistic as possible, looking almost close to the original Instagram design. And it's really, really fun and really, really satisfying to see this. So if you've been following from day one, I'm sure you might have gotten up to something like this. You follow from day one, day two, day three, day four, down to this day. You should be having something that looks similar to this. And in case you missed the previous episodes and you're wondering, how did we get up to this point? Just head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, and then you'll see our previous videos for the past 4 days of this bootcamp. It has really been so fun. Okay, so this is where we come to the end of our final project. So one last thing I need to show you guys is how to share your work. If you can remember, we said that Figma is a collaborative tool, meaning that you can share with friends, and get people to see what you want to do. So all you have to do is to just click on this share button that we have at the topmost part on the right. Click on the share button to share this particular document. So if you want to then prototype it and you want to share the prototype, you have to enter the presentation mode to actually share the prototype. But now I want to share this document, the design, but I'm going to set it to view only so that you guys cannot spoil my design for me. So it's going to be set to view. And besides, even if I wanted to send it to edit, since it's actually a draft, external candidates cannot edit your work. So it's only going to be viewed. So I'm sharing this design file. To do that, I'll click on share, and then I'll copy link. I can choose to impute an email address, and then to send directly. I'll send it directly as a message to the person's email. But since I don't have all your email addresses, all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link and drop the link in the comments so that you guys can all see it. Yes, so I'll copy the link and paste it in the comments. When you click on the comment on the link there, you can then have access to the design. But like I said, anyone can view. You can't edit the work. So I'm going to click on copy, rest. So, but when you're working with Figma, if you want to share or you want to invite someone to your work, all you have to do is just type in the person's email in this um in this bar, in this field that you're seeing here, and then you click on the invite button. Once you've done that, it's as easy as that. The message will go directly to the person's email and come in as a message. The person will see your invite, accept the invite, and come into your design. I will share a link to the prototype as well at the end of this class, but first I'm going to share a link to this design file. Okay, so I've copied my link now and my sharing is all good to go. So I can close this tab. Okay, so this is where we gradually come to a close of our UI UX design bootcamp. It has really been a fun week. So let me just walk you guys through from day one up to this point. We covered what UI UX is. We saw the explanation of UI UX, UI versus UX. Then we learned how to create a Figma account. Now I'm just going to quickly recap this because I was getting some information that some people didn't catch that point. All you have to do to create a Figma account: step one, open your browser. Now it doesn't matter the browser that you're using, whether you're using Chrome, you're using Firefox, you're using Edge. So long as it's a browser, it's a search engine, just open it. Now Figma is a web-based file, although it has a mobile app. But I'm just going to show you guys how to create an account, whether it's on the mobile app or on the web. Then downloading the web mobile app is not difficult. So open your browser and then you type in figma.com. Yes, figma.com. That's how you do it. I'm going to drop a spelling of figma.com on the comments as well so that you can see what I'm talking about. Good. So figma.com. Now once you do that, you click on the very first option. That is step 3. Click on the very first option that will take you to the website. Yes. Step 3. Click on the first option that will take you to the website. Then next, you then get started for free. You follow up the steps and it's as easy and intuitive as possible. So I'll drop a link to the Figma website so that I'll drop a link on the comment to the Figma website so that all of you viewers can go there and sign up and create your own Figma account so that you can start your own UI UX journey. So once you've gotten to the website, you get started for free. It's just easy as so. The processes that you're going to follow is intuitive and very easy. Just answer the few questions and you're on your way to get started. That was for day 1. Then day 2, we got an extensive understanding of colors, typography, and plugins as well. We also learned how to upload images and bring them into Figma. Day 3 saw us venturing further into the design world, where we started by creating a friend suggestion card in Figma. We created a friend suggestion card using buttons and also working with auto layout as well. I also introduced you guys to how to work with plugins like Unsplash to get images from the web, free images from different sources on one website called Unsplash. It is very free of charge. And when you get that, you can just impute it into your shape, to any shape of your choice, and you're good to go. So we also talked about how to create auto layouts. I'll repeat that. You see that auto layout, the shortcut to creating it is Shift A on your keyboard. So you just press down your Shift key and hold A and press A, and you create an auto layout. That was what we did for day 2. Day 3 saw us then moving on into importing of icons with the helpful plugin Iconify. We created a friend suggestion post, a post on Instagram, and then we also created our animated like button. Yes, in case if you're wondering how that like button popped or had that bouncy effect, just head over to our day 3 video and you'll see it there, how we did that by creating components. We also talked about what components are and all of that. Then day 4 came and saw us completing our home screen, importing extra icons for our navigation bar, and then completing the Instagram story slider that we did. And I also showed you guys how to frame selections. So anything that you selected, you can also drop the comment. Sorry, anything that you selected, you can also add it to a frame. Yes, that was all we did in the yesterday's class, the class for day 4. Then day 5, which is what you guys have met, we completed our design by creating the sign up screen and the splash screen as well. We created the splash screen, we animated it and made it as animated as possible. We also learned how to present and how to share. Yes, we learned how to share, how to copy our links to users and then give it out for people to view it as well. So that is how we come to the end of the UI UX Design Bootcamp on Loctech. Yes, it was really fun. These 5 days has really been fun and educative. So in case you've missed any day, just make sure to head over to our YouTube, our Facebook, and Instagram. Subscribe, do well to subscribe, turn on your notifications. You can subscribe or follow us regardless of the channel that you're joining from, and then turn on your notifications so that you can get informations and notified when we drop more educative content. So if you're wondering how does the entire UI UX design process go, because I can apologize that during this class there are some things that we just touched on the surface. We didn't cover it completely. Yes, because of the limited time frame that we had. But no worries. In case if you want to learn more, feel free to head over to Loctech and register for this class, and you're going to learn the complete UI UX design product, the complete UI UX design process. Yes. So this is the first day of our bootcamp, but doesn't mean it's the last day of our bootcamp. The next class and the next instructor you're going to be seeing is going to be for the data analysis. Yes, for those of you who are interested in data analysis, remember to stick around, subscribe, and wait for next week Monday, where you see a new face and you learn a new exciting course for another 5 days. So this is where I'll be signing out, and this will be the last day you'll be seeing my face. The next face, I repeat, the next face you're going to be seeing is a completely different face altogether. So this is where we call it a wrap on our UI UX design program. It has really been fun, and I have really enjoyed it, and I'm sure you guys have learned so much from it. So I'm going to be signing out now. I think I've dropped the link to the file in the comments. For more info, you can always contact us on our YouTube, on our social media platforms, or drop a comment and our customer care team will reach out to you. So good night, have a nice day, and we'll see you again next week. Bye bye.